My father was called Dad. He went away to serve with the Australian Army in World War II. He told me once that he used to have a girlfriend and he'd get out of the army barracks and he'd sneak out the dunny window, climb down 2 flights of drain pipe. He was so much in love with her. He'd go down to the local picture show, the movies, and he'd meet her inside. He reckoned that's what you should always do with Sheilas. That way you don't have to buy a ticket for them. You can, and then at half time, if you pretend you're not hungry, and she'll go out at the interval and buy her own lollies, and you won't have to pay for nothing. And I learnt that lesson off him, and that's been my Bible all my life. He was sent to Palestine during World War II, and he reckoned he went into the dunny at the brothel. A dunny's an Aussie shithouse. And most Aussie blokes, they never look down at a bloke's thingy when he's pissing at the trough next to him. They never ever look at it, because if you do, people will think you're a poop. But if you got a real tiny thingy, you put your hand over it, pretend you're holding it, put your hand over it like that, so no one can see how big it is. But if you got a good one, you get it out and you stick your stomach forward and you let it go, and if anyone looks at your dork, well, they know that you got a good one. Anyway, he was in the dunny and he was having a quick sneak at the blokes. He didn't know what jippos, he called them jippos. They were Egyptian gentlemen, Muslim gentlemen, and with all them robes on, you couldn't really see what their bums looked like, but he figured that when you went into the toilet, they'd have to hike up their robes and have a leak, and he could have a quick look to see whether they were big or small or whatever shape they were. He was very interested in those sort of things. All his life he was interested in that. I've been pretty interested in that too. Anyway, he looked down and he saw one that wasn't circumcised. See, back in 1940, all Aussies were circumcised just about. Not just Jewish people. All Aussies. You go around old folks' home today and have a look at their dorks, you'll see knobs everywhere you look. He looked down at the bloke next to him and he said, geez, he thought, that's not circumcised. He'd never seen one like that before, because he went to a Catholic orphanage, and they had to have showers with their clothes on, in case they got any bright ideas. So he had a look, and his eyes gradually went up, and he looked across. It was bloody Rommel. Rommel, the German bloody general. He went in. Aussies always carried big knives back then. Big knife and a quarter-pound block of cheese. That was like their ration. If you were found without your knife and your cheese, you could go to the brig, the army jail, do a couple of days. Say, captain would say, "Where's your cheese?" You had to show it and salute. Put it back in your pocket. You say, "Where's your knife?" You had to take it out, hold it perpendicular and horizontal, then shove it back and say, "I have them both, sir." General caught you without your knife or your cheese, you were really buggered. Anyway, he looked at this place, saw it was bloody Rommel. Luckily, he had his cheese, and he took it out, and he rammed it into the Rommel's face. Rommel went, he tried to wipe it off, but Aussie cheese sticks like hell. And he had to claw it out of his eyes. By the time he clawed it out of his eyes, my dad had stuck him with the knife right underneath the ribs and put an extra little twist in, like Aussies do. And Rommel fell to the floor, and Dad went out to the bar, told his mates. They all come into the dunny, got his wallet, got his weapon, got his iron cross, and dumped the body out the back in the alley. They went back to the barracks, said no more about it. And that's how Dad got to be in the Buffalors Lodge. Now, the Buffalors Lodge don't let you in unless you've done something really grouse, something really heroic in the war. And he knew he'd done it. He reported to the General of the Australians, but they all told him, shut the hell up, shut the fuck up. We're going to get an Aussie bloke who can talk German to take Rommel's place. So the Rommel that you see in the newsreels after 1942 is an Aussie bloke, an Aussie spy. And my dad was responsible for he was responsible for winning the whole bloody war, because if we hadn't got Rommel, if we hadn't got the bodgy Rommel in place, we may not have won the war. And that's a true story. I swear it on me father and mother's grave.